The dictionary definition of a professional musician is one whose main income comes from their musical activity, while the dictionary definition of an amateur musician is one whose musical activities are done on an unpaid basis. So it's all about the money, eh? When I was 19 years old, I moved out of my hometown of Swansea, South Wales, represent West Glamorgan, to live close to London. I had no qualifications, I had very little experience, and all I did have was about 2 months worth of money to see me through. By the end of that 2 months, I was making my living as a bass player, but I was playing anywhere and everywhere, which meant mostly playing pubs and social clubs. And I was playing music like YMCA and I Will Survive and Walking on Sunshine and Groove is in the Heart. Ugh. But by the dictionary definition term, at 19, I was a professional bass player. There is so much more to being a professional musician than just the money. There are the traits that bring in the opportunities that set aside the big dogs from the wannabe. So what are those traits? What sets the professionals aside from the amateurs? That's what we're going to look into, as well as some hardcore name dropping. Clang! Number one, money. Now, I want to start with money because obviously that's the big one, and that's what people think sets the professionals apart from the amateurs. And it's true, professionals do make more money than amateurs. But it's the way that these professionals think about money and think about how to get the money that sets them aside as true professionals. An amateur would say, if you pay me money, I will do great things. Whereas a professional would say, I get paid money because of the great things that I do. A subtle but huge difference. I'm always surprised at how little professionals say the word, how much money, how much do I get, how much is the gig, whereas I hear it all of the time from inexperienced musicians. While I'm sure professional musicians would walk away from a job if they felt undervalued, it's not just the money, it's the fun, it's the opportunity, it's the networking, as well as the money that all come in to weigh up whether this is a gig that they'd like to take on. From my experience, normally it's the amateurs who don't get paid much who say things like, you wouldn't expect a plumber to work for exposure, whilst the professionals just go on about their day, doing their work, knowing full well there's plenty of work out there and other opportunities which they can do to get paid. Number two, the art of simplicity. I was once with the drummer John J.R. Robinson. Clang! Now, if you don't know, John is one of the most recorded session drummers in history, and you will have heard his work on Michael Jackson albums like Bad and Off the Wall. He's played for Chaka Khan, he's played for Madonna, he's played for Daft Punk, he's played for Lionel Richie, Rod Stewart. The list goes on and on. And one of the things he said to me that really stood out was, I get paid to play the money groove. And I said, so what is the money groove? And he sat behind the kit and he played the drum beat that you learn when you first start playing the drums. Boom, ga, boom, ga, boom, ga, boom, ga. But when he played it, he just played it better than everybody else, which is why he gets paid to play that money groove. Now, whilst this sounds ridiculous, you'll see this on a lot of top-end level session guys. I'm sure they can shred till the cows come home, but when they sit down and play the simple stuff, it sounds world class. A guitarist who can hit a chord like nobody else. A drummer who can play a 4/4 groove very simply that sounds world class. Top-end professionals have the ability to play the simplest things to the highest level. Number three, and this one's a big one, crushing the like button, because only true pros smash that like button. No, but in all seriousness, if you're enjoying this or if it's bringing you value, if you can do me a favor and just hit that like button, because it does do wonders for the YouTube algorithm. It makes my life so much better. So if you wouldn't mind, that would be awesome. Tip number three, The real number 3, sticking to deadlines. Professionals know that they can't wait to be inspired. They need to be able to turn that magic on as soon as that red light goes on. Amateur musicians are constantly waiting to feel inspired, and I have seen this on practicing, I've seen this on writing, I've seen this on recording, that waiting until the moment comes so that I can actually feel inspired to do my best work. And sure, your best work probably will come when you're inspired. But as the great Rob Harris, guitarist of Jamiroquai, clang, once said to me, if I wait to get inspired, I'll get sacked. Tip number 4, the circle of competence. Now, Warren Buffett, one of the richest men on the planet, says he owes most of his wealth to this rule. Amateurs tend to take a swing at everything and also think they're pretty good at everything, whereas professionals know the bits that they do incredibly well. And again, they go all in. I call this staying in my lane. So while an amateur is average at many things, a professional usually excels at a few things. Now you'll see this in songwriters who write in several different styles, or musicians who are trying to play too many instruments, or also trying to learn too many genres. When you think it's strengthening, it's actually weakening your game until you have mastered one goal. One thing I would say is there is so much work for you out there as a musician, so much more work than you think there is. So having every finger in every different pie doesn't actually help, but being all in with the pie, that helps. Pie. Tip number 5, adaptability. We are in an ever-changing market because of fashion, because of technology and social media and financial markets. So the game keeps changing. Professionals read the market and adapt, whilst amateurs use the word should. And I hate the word should. I hate the word should. Musicians should get paid fairly for their music. People should go to more gigs and support more local bands. Musicians should boycott Spotify so CDs can come back and we can all make loads of money. Maybe so, but it's should. Professionals avoid should. They use words like how. How can I do this? And then they adapt accordingly. Tip number 6, consistency. Professionals value consistency because that's how you win trophies, whereas amateurs value isolated performances because that's how you win games. Oh, I am dropping bombs today! Watching pros in action, they make it look so easy. There's no chaos or drama. Everything just feels so smooth and stable and consistent. Stuff goes wrong, of course, but they take it in their stride, easily soaking up the pressure due to their experience from what they've done before. And this means striving for high standards, lateness, being scruffy, not learning songs properly. These are things that you very rarely see amongst professional musicians. And lastly is perception, and I think perception is key because people think that high skill level and money maketh a professional. But in reality, it's habit and routine that build the experience to allow a musician to get to that professional level. But did you know that Floyd Mayweather fought 90 times as an amateur? 90! That's almost twice as many amateur fights than he had professional fights. So does he get paid the big bucks? Absolutely. But his record is 90 amateur fights and 50 pro fights. 90 unpaid fights, 50 paid fights. Watching Floyd Mayweather demand the big paycheck when he's had 130 fights makes complete sense, but you didn't see that in the first 10, 20, 30, 40 or 50 amateur fights. At the end of the day, being a professional is a habit, not a bank balance. Aspiring to be more professional and better yourself, well, that's amazing. But if you think this is about finishing the game, then you are going to be left confused and very frustrated. So back to the start of the video. At 19 years old, I was making my living as a bass player. Did that make me a professional bass player? No. Me aspiring to be a professional with professional habits and sticking with it year on year, decade on decade, that is what makes you a professional. So thanks for watching, guys. If you can do me a favor, like, subscribe, more importantly, come and be a part of this community. And if you want to be a part of my exclusive community where I'm putting out daily content, live streams, and a bunch of other resources, then the link is down below. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.